Hey, what's up YouTube? In this video, I'll be showing you how to make a modern mansion. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please do remember to hit that like button as it helps me in the channel out very much, and subscribe to the channel if you want to keep up to date with everything that I've been building. But without any further ado, let's get started. This is the amount of space required to make your build, a 40 by 41 block area as represented by the white concrete grid on the ground, which I would always urge you to make if you are planning out your world. Here are all of the materials that you will need to make the build. Please do make sure that you have access to all those materials and enough of them as well. Step 1. If you have made the grid, come all the way over to the front left hand corner of it. Count backwards 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then right 1. Place 4 light grey concrete on top of each other. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then place an upside down, this is going to be tricky, but place an upside down smooth quartz stairs on top of the 4th light grey concrete block. Extend these stairs to the right by 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then we are going to place solid smooth quartz blocks, and we want to place 10 of them going right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Mark underneath this with a row of polished blackstone wall connecting down to the ground. This becomes a little bit more relevant later on. Then continue extending the row of quartz to the right by 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And once again, you can connect this down to the ground using the blackstone wall, although this is ever so slightly less important because from here, we can extend the quartz block forwards by 3. 1, 2, 3. And then right by 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then we want to take that 9th block and we want to extend it upwards by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In by 2. 1, 2. Up by 3. 1, 2, 3. Place a smooth quartz slab on top. And extend that backwards by 27. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. Extend the slab down by 4 using smooth quartz block. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then extend backwards by 2. 1, 2. Extend down by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then, if you like, we can join this down to the ground using some polished blackstone wall. But, more importantly, we can take just about every single one of the quartz blocks and we can extend them forwards with a few exceptions. So, on the front of the build here, towards the front of the build, we simply want to place 2 rows of light blue glass pane underneath where we have these slabs, so 1, 2, and then a smooth quartz, and then 2 pane, 1, 2, and then smooth quartz. Extend the quartz down by 3, 1, 2, 3, and then it might even be 4 actually, because what we want to do is we want to, and we can extend this quartz down as well. If you extend it down by 4, we can then easily place the glass, so you can kind of see. Or maybe the windows actually do only want to be 2x3s. I was under the impression that that they wanted to be 2x4, but this is a balcony and it wouldn't make sense, and this is where like a floor line would be, so it wouldn't make sense that the windows would be any lower. So regardless, once you have done the 2x3 windows separated with a row of quartz block, we can then proceed to fill the entire right side in here using quartz block as well. When you come to the interior, you may find that you want to perhaps add a little bit more detail to the build, or you might not want to as well. There comes a point when too many windows can be a hindrance rather than an aesthetic. Like, it can look good aesthetically, but it can be a hindrance if you actually want to design the inside properly. So it's up to you whether you want to add some more windows. I usually like to have a blank wall on at least one of the sides of my build so that you can place a load of stuff against it that you otherwise wouldn't be able to if you had a bunch of windows. So I'll leave that up to you as a personal choice. So now that we've done that, we can continue on. So, where we have the 27th, I do believe, quartz slab that we placed earlier, we want to extend this across the build by 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we want to extend down using 4 smooth quartz blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4. We want to extend right 1, but we also want to extend all the way to the left as well. Like this, and it will connect rather logically back to this wall. So what we then want to do is, with this empty space here, whilst we're at it, place, start from the left, 2 rows of glass, gap, 1 row of glass, gap, 2 rows of glass. The gaps want to be filled in using vertical rows of smooth quartz block, and we will also want to extend the glass upwards just like this to form windows. Easy peasy. So now that we have done that, we can continue on, and we want to continue in a couple of different ways. So we want to take this singular quartz block here, and we want to extend it down by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like this. And then we want to extend, let me make sure that this is correct. We want to extend forwards by 2, 1, 2. And then we can extend all the way to the left here. And we can add some light blue stained glass pane on top of this little shape that we've just made. But we also want to take the same smooth quartz and we want to extend it backwards by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we want to extend right, the 4th block, right by 17. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. And then we can extend it down by 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like this. And what we are going to do, because we need to put a couple of different parts of this mansion together, like as soon as we've done one part, it makes another part easier to build. We want to take the entire row of smooth quartz that we have here and extend it forwards by 6 rows. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And let's extend the entire row because this is just a nice big chunk of quartz. This bottom row of quartz, by the way, so this one here, yeah, I don't actually think it's going to be visible. So if you want to place like a couple of rows of oak wood planks, it might even just be one row of oak wood planks on the side of this. It might sort of, and if you like, you can even kind of like extend it forwards. Like, these sorts of things help me. So like understanding that this is where the floor level is for kind of like the first floor of the mansion and for kind of like the outside. I just find that stuff sort of helpful. Like the same thing, like if you want to wrap around a row of oak planks that kind of like would just lead into the inside, like it just kind of like, instead of just having a big floating chunk of quartz, it kind of gives you an idea of what we're working with. And anyway, we're going to continue on from the quartz block area using grey concrete, and we want to place a grey concrete inside of the top right hand corner area of this quartz, and we're going to extend the grey concrete forwards by 7. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we're going to join this down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, so to where the oak planks would be. And sometimes it's a lot easier to actually fill. Like, we could do this. It might make a bit more sense. It might help a lot, actually, because this is all sort of one level, and we have sort of enclosed an area here. So, inside of this space, maybe we won't go all the way over, but it would help, or be helpful, I think, to have a solid area to build on top of, because otherwise we have to build quite a few different abstract shapes using, I suppose they're not abstract really, but a bunch of like cubes and other words for cubes that I'm sure that you guys know. Like, we just need to build like a bunch of shapes that all kind of connect together, and they all kind of like join down to a base, and it's just a lot easier if we have a base to join down onto. And I'm using oak planks, by the way. I mean, I suppose it's a bit obvious by this point, like we've filled quite a large area in, but I'm using oak planks, and I just think it complements the palette quite nicely. It always has, I think. Modern builds, like just white, grey, and oak just looks nice. In all fairness, like white, grey, and just about any wood will look nice. Or at least more so the classic ones, like spruce looks good, birch looks good. Acacia, sort of. You have to, if you're in the mood for that sort of thing. Warped and crimson, you know, it's all personal sort of taste when it comes to that, but I don't think that you can beat the good old classic oak. So there we go, perfect. So hopefully in building this, and we're starting to look it's starting to look a bit fantastic now. Like, it's starting to look quite cool. In building this, it just helps us with this next part. So we joined the grey concrete down to the ground, didn't we? We also want to extend upwards. We want to extend the same row upwards by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we want to extend that 4th block back. And we want to slot it into this corner where we have the quartz block. So the grey concrete just wants to sit inside like this. We want to add a horizontal row of grey concrete underneath the top. And then we want to divide rows of 3. So 1, 2, 3, grey concrete. 1, 2, 3, grey concrete. And then this last row will naturally be divided that way. This wants to extend down into the lower half of the build. This area here I have designated as kind of like a little entrance. So I'm going to half fill this in with some... The material name is... light blue glass pane. Slipped my mind for a second, I don't know how. And the rest of the empty spaces are going to be glass. So, everywhere that we've just kind of made, if we just fill it in with glass. There's a lot of glass, there is a lot of windowage on this build, hence why I was hesitant to add extra windows on that side, because most of this build is windows. So there you go, you can see how that is pieced together rather nicely. And on the back of the build now, let's take a nice little look at the back of the build. So on the back of the build, we are going to grab the grey concrete, and you see, we don't have to make... Yeah, we'll take the grey concrete and we'll extend it at the top to the left by 16. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And we're going to join this down. So we'll just slide it just behind the quartz. And we will extend a row of grey concrete across like this, just behind the quartz. And what we're then going to do is fill in the space just underneath here. So where we have the quartz block, we're going to add a row of smooth quartz here on the right side. And then we want to have a row of 7 glass. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then a row of 5 grey concrete. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we want to have 2 rows of light blue glass pane. 1, 2. And then 2 rows of smooth quartz block. 1, 2. And we can extend the smooth quartz upwards. You'll see that it will join to this corner. And we want to do the same sort of thing with the grey concrete as well. So the grey concrete, I do believe that it just joins rather naturally to the quartz that we have, but then we want to continue extending that row upwards that is like above and behind it, because we already have a couple of rows of grey concrete, and then you get this sort of nice depth effect. And then we can add a horizontal row of grey concrete underneath the top horizontal row like this. And then, it just keeps going, and then we want to simply add, dude, where's my car? Anybody? No? And then, that movie's a bit old now. Outdated reference. But anyway, we want to fill all of these remaining areas in using light blue glass panes. So, these empty spaces... There we go. That looks pretty good. You see how it all comes together. So in placing all of that quartz allowed us to then place the grey rather easily, which has allowed us to then join all the way back to this part. I'm going to fill this little gap in that we have here using quartz. So this here, this row of quartz and quartz slab that I'm now just extending backwards, that can, or you just want to extend that inwards until it kind of just covers up that area. Like, you don't have to be that clean with it. And now that we have done that, we should really figure... So I'm going to place some, like, oak planks here. I keep forgetting material names. I keep getting ahead of myself in my mind, like, anyway. So we want to fill this little balcony area in here, and this big empty space is kind of meant to be kind of like a walkway. So I think I'm going to add another row of smooth quartz block just here. I'm going to elongate this row of oak planks. So I'm just going to have an extra row of oak planks just extending across the back here. To which I think I'll also place just another row of smooth quartz block just leading all the way to the right. Lining it up. Nah, we won't line it up. We'll just extend it all the way to the right, and it'll supersede that area by one row. And we'll just leave this nice and open. And as I mentioned, like, it's important sometimes. This isn't too important, but to give you an idea, like, where we have the windows on the second story here, like, and this goes for every single part. Where we have the windows just underneath them is where the next floor will be, right? And I also, and this is a balcony, so what I think I want to do is this area, this row of quartz block that we have here, wants to get extended across, and we want to create some sort of pattern of windows inside of this area. So, to give you an idea, like, there we go. Like, it's in the same plane as the quartz that we have to the right, but because it's encased in this box here, it doesn't feel bad at all. And we just want to have an entrance, so maybe we'll just carve out like a row here, a 2x3, add some glass to kind of create just like a doorway, and then maybe we'll just destroy these rows to the right, and we'll place some light blue glass pane in here. I think that we might also, because we can see the oak, and I don't like that, the oak floor, I think I'm just going to basically just cover it up, really, using some quartz slabs. And that also has the benefit of it adds an extra layer. It makes it look more interesting. So I'm quite happy with how that looks. And then on top of this row of quartz block, I'm going to simply place some light blue stained glass paint. And yeah, that's looking great. I love that. So let's come to the front of the build where we are lacking. Oh my god. This does not look done at all. Okay, so what we're going to do, we are going to grab the grey concrete and we're going to start at the top here. So where we have the grey concrete up at the top, the tippity-toppitest, most forward-facing grey concrete that we have, extend this row of grey concrete to the right by 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Place a light grey concrete on the end, and then up, and then forwards, and then to the right by 3. 1, 2, 3. And then extend down 1. Place a grey concrete in front, to the left, and then extend right by 3. 1, 2, 3. Place a smooth quartz slab to the right of the lower half of the grey. Extend the smooth quartz slab forwards, and then to the right, joining to... Here we go. So that might have seemed complicated. Joining back to where we have the smooth quartz slabs. I think the very first one that we ever placed actually on the right side of the build. Now, this might not seem like we've done very much, but if we take the light grey concrete and we extend it down to the ground, and by ground I of course mean kind of like the oak plank decking that we've made earlier. And this is why I wanted to place this, because it just makes all of this part so much easier. So we can join the light grey concrete down to the ground. And the light grey concrete extends backwards by quite a few rows. It actually extends backwards. It is a 4x4 block structure. This, I'll call it a cornerstone of light grey concrete, because it might not look important. It might just look like a random part of the build, but actually pulls things together really nicely. Like it kind of separates like one side of the build from the other. In conjunction with the grey concrete surrounding it, it's, I mean, maybe I don't know how to articulate what I want to say, but it kind of, I don't know, it feels like a separating factor. It's quite important. Like, it looks a lot better with it. Maybe that's how I can say. Anyway, we want to add a row of grey concrete underneath this horizontal row of grey concrete that we have up at the top of the build here. Then we want to add a vertical row of grey concrete here on the right. So this row of grey concrete on the right will extend all the way down. We also want to add a horizontal row of grey concrete that kind of splits the build in half like this. And we are going to add glass everywhere but here, where we have the little 2-block gap. So it's simply just going to be, it's going to create some big giant windows, and it's going to look really good. So here, just up at the top here as well. And it doesn't get too much more complicated here on the left part of the build. Of course, we have to make it like a garage and stuff, but you can see that really quickly has pieced in that part of the build rather nicely. Let's do this. So, where we have the corner of smooth quartz slab here, we want to extend this down by 4 using smooth quartz. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is going to extend to the right here. Boom. And this is also going to extend backwards. So it's going to extend back. Just extend it back as far as the light grey concrete does on the back. And this is going to help us build the next part of the build. So the grey concrete row that is kind of just floating along by its lonesome, we want to extend the left side of it all the way down to the ground. We then want to take the block that hit the ground, extend it forwards by 2. 1, 2. Extend a light blue glass to the right by 1. Leave a gap, and then place 4 grey concrete going right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Extend forwards 1. Place 2 glass. 1, 2. Place a grey concrete, and then place going right. Or maybe we want to extend forwards another row. Yeah, actually, I think that we're going to extend forwards another row as well. So here, and then you see this will kind of like just join upwards. And then we're going to leave a gap of 2, grey concrete. And then this will leave quite a large gap. Or maybe we'll just have like, what we have over there equivalently. So we'll have like a row of 3, and then we'll place grey concrete extending up. And then we'll extend the grey concrete outwards horizontally like this. So we've actually got a rather large window here, which we can just fill in using the light blue glass paint. You know, some of this requires a little bit of thinking on the go. And then to the right here, we will just mirror the entrance that we have on the back. So there we go. So that kind of that creates us the actual like entrance area. So this is going to be the main entrance to the build. And then what we can then do is we want to extend the grey concrete upwards. So I think we want to do 1, 2, 3 rows here. So let's take the grey concrete, we'll extend it upwards by 3 rows, because that will then allow us to easily place the balcony like this. So don't worry about extending the glass just yet. Just extend up all of the grey concrete and we can join it together at the top, just kind of like this, right? And then this grey concrete here, this quartz block here, I think that we are going to, or maybe on top of this. So there's a window here. This wants to, I think we basically want to mirror the windows that we have on the opposite side. So 2 glass, quartz, 2 glass, quartz. Extend the quartz upwards, and you can also extend the glass upwards as well. And we want to, as I mentioned, create like a little bit of a balcony area. So we want to place a row of smooth quartz block just in front of the bottom of the windows, kind of just extending out. And then I do believe that we want to take the, not 1. So if we start from the edge here, 1, 2, 3, 4. we want to place a row of smooth quartz slabs extending horizontally across, and they want to just supersede the grey concrete area here by one row, I do believe. And we'll just leave it like that for the moment, because what we can then do is just add an extra row of grey concrete just on top of this area. And we can start filling this in, because I think that we really need the quartz. We need the dividing row of quartz just to make this a bit easier to make some of the next part. So as long as the slab extends an additional row over, and then we can wrap the quartz slab around, you see? Just like this. And that should look pretty good, yeah, see? So there we go, that's really starting to turn out really nice. So all that's really left is to do this little structure of grey concrete here. We're going to extend a couple of rows of quartz backwards here. And then we want to add a row of grey concrete underneath this little horizontal part. And then we'll join the right side down. We'll leave a gap of 1, and then we will extend the middle down 1, 2, 3 like this. And we want to have a little bit of oak planks just to kind of either oak planks or quartz, but oak planks looks pretty good. And then we'll join this in the middle. We'll knock out some of this, and that will create us a window. So we can have a little singular light blue glass pane window, and we can create a little mini balcony like this. And then I want to also create a larger balcony extending from here all the way to here. So where we have this little mini entrance here, and I mean, you could even keep this quite separate, like inside of the build. You could make it so that it's really difficult to span the two sides, or maybe they don't even connect. You could have like a little secret area that is only accessible via going from there to there. But I just thought it looked kind of cool this way. And we also have to fill this large area in here. This is just going to be a rather large window. This is just going to be a big giant window here. I'm trying to see where else we need to fill in with glass, because we've been making so many different shapes that need filling in. Underneath here, all of these need filling in with glass. And we're getting to the point now, ladies and gentlemen, where we've made most of the structure of the, like, when I say the house, I mean the living area of the house. And it's pretty well formed, actually. We're going to be moving on next. So, like, for instance, like, I'm just going to add an interior wall in between the right side of the build, like front to back. So what I'll call the blank side of the build. And we have to, the reason that I'm doing this is because we have to start making some roofs, right? So this area here, we're going to fill the entire roof section in using smooth quartz slabs. The opposite side is going to be entirely grey concrete. Like, why am I making the roof solid? Why aren't I just using glass? Well, number one, on this right side, to use glass would mean that the glass pokes out half a row above the quartz slabs, which I don't... It's not that I don't like the effect of it, but I don't know, I don't like the effect of it. Unless you were to then... The only way that I like it, the only context that I like that in, is if you were to then go like around it. But that's not the style of the house, so, or at least that's not the way that I've designed it. So I'm just using quartz slab, and then this side is going to be entirely grey concrete, and that's all there is to it. I think that there's enough windows on these sides of the house that we don't really need to supplement with big giant skylights. I think it's bright enough, and if it's not bright enough, then we can make it brighter. We can use some external light sources, which we would have to do anyway when it comes to night. But I mean, a lot of you guys may know that I prefer to make houses with lots of natural light, and I think that we've achieved that with all of the giant amount of windows. Not only the literal size of the windows being giant, but also the actual amount of them. So that's looking really, really good. I mean, I think that looks awesome. Next thing that we're going to do is we're going to create a little staircase. The staircase basically leads us up to the main entrance, which is here, of course. And we're just going to tack on a couple of rows of smooth quartz stairs, literally just in front of like where the entrance is opposite the balcony, terrace might be a better word. The terrace that we have created. So we just want to drop the smooth quartz stairs down into the ground like this. Here. And here. There we go. See, so that's looking pretty good. I kind of want to border the terrace using some light blue glass pane. This sits on top of these solid smooth quartz blocks, not on top of the smooth slab that we have. So like this. We also want to add... So how do we want to do this precisely? So let's add in the garage space, okay? So we have light grey concrete on the build. Behind and to the right of this, we want to have rows of 1, 2, 3, 4, then light grey concrete, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and then light grey concrete, in amongst rows of 4. So we want to have rows of 4 smooth quartz stairs, light grey concrete, 4 smooth quartz stairs, light grey concrete. And the light grey concrete wants to extend upwards like this, and join like that. And these are supposed to look like garage doors. So we're going to have 3 rows in total, so 3 rows of quartz stairs. And then behind this, we're going to have light blue glass block, like so. And we can extend a couple of rows of light grey concrete just on this side as well. So you can see how this like sort of pieces together nicely now too. And I want to get to the point where we can place the light grey. Okay, so this might be... Okay. From this very first row of light grey concrete that we ever placed, which is how it started, which is kind of crazy, we want to have a row of 27 light grey concrete behind it. So behind this, we have a row of 1, 2 already. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. Okay, good. So from the 27th block here, we then want to extend to the left by 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then inwards by 5. 1, 2, whoops. 3, 4, 5. And then left by 19. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. And then forwards by 2. 1, 2. And then left by 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we're going to extend forwards by 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay. And then we can extend that 15th block all the way to the right. And we can join it to the opposite side of the garage. Now, you may be asking, why does that matter? Why did we just place all of that light grey concrete? Well, because we want to raise up all of the light grey concrete by, I want to say that the row amount, so we've got 2, 3. So we want to raise it up by 3 rows, and that's pretty much all of it. And what that will do is create a base for our house. So our house doesn't want to float. We do have some supports on the front of the house using some blackstone wall, but our house doesn't want to float. So this light grey concrete is essentially a big giant foundation. I didn't really design the light grey concrete area to be anything, but it's so huge. I mean, you could turn this into a giant basement or anything. I mean, maybe you could have your own petting zoo under here. I don't know what you could do with it, honestly. There's so many different options, but the idea is that our house wants to sit on this large light grey foundation that sweeps under the entire of our house, and we're going to extend this all the way over to the left like this, and it's going to join to the side of the garage. And in making this, it allows us to plot out the pool, and once the pool's been made, we can start working on some of the other finer details. So here we go. Okay, so does that not look a little bit better? There we are. I think that looks way, way better like this. And in doing that, we can now place a wall around the build. So this is a row or 2 rows of smooth quartz block. Now the 2 rows of smooth quartz block basically border the entire outside of the house. So it, except for where it extends out on the front of the build, on the left and right sides where it extends and it kind of creates like a boundary between the outside world, it pretty much wants to wrap around the actual shape of the house though. So here, here, it wants to wrap around the entire shape of the house. Like this. And it's just going to kind of put a finish on things for us. So, here we go. Perfect. Yes. See, it just adds a nice finish to the build. I really like how that looks. The garages. So, in between the rows of smooth quartz stairs wants to lie a row of grey concrete that extends from the street or wherever you want to put this, the street or wherever it may be. You could turn this into like a compound and you could chuck it in a city. Like, you just have to add another wall onto it, although some of these houses don't even have like exterior walls. Like a lot of these houses, they don't even bother with gates, and you can just like walk onto these giant houses. And by the way, I'm going off of films. Like, I don't know whether, I guess if you had a house this big in real life, I suppose that you probably would have like a big giant wall in front of it. But in films, sometimes like these things just exist. Like just on a street, people can just walk in. Seems a little bit crazy to me, but you know. We want to have a row of 2 light grey concrete. It's like just a pathway of 2 light grey concrete that extends from these steps all the way to the driveway. So this is just light grey concrete extending from these steps all the way to the drive. Underneath the terrace, as I'm calling it, we're going to have, basically the entire floor is going to be oak wood planks. And this can be a usable area. So let's just... Always got to make a mistake. So this is going to be a usable area. We're going to have some stairs that lead us down onto here. Some seating could be used. We could have an additional pool. We could have like a hot tub or something down here. You know, we can have barbecue. We can have all sorts of stuff down here. I've intentionally left this build a little bit blank though. So this is just a shell of a build, and to turn it into a house, I mean, you've got so much space that, I mean, you could really build whatever you like. I want to leave some of it to the imagination. What I have added, it's very, very minor. I want you guys to kind of like take this and, you know, let your imagination run with it. But this house in my mind, it is kind of like a house that, it's not got a back garden. It's... I mean, you could add like a small... I figured that the terrace and stuff was enough in the front garden. Like, it's got a pretty decent plot size. I imagine this in a city, quite honestly. Like, obviously, probably one of the nicer houses in the city. But I imagine this is kind of like a city house. A modern city house. It's, you know, kind of like on the outskirts. And it's kind of like built in a little bit. It kind of just seems to fit, or at least it does to me, like with the street in front of it and such. Anyway... In front of this, we want to build kind of a water feature. At least we're going to build the beginnings of it. So where we have these steps here, the edge of the steps, we simply want to leave a gap of 2, so that's 1, 2. And then we want to place a row of 5 quartz blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Extend that another row upwards. Continue extending the lower row of quartz block to the right by 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In the ground, continue digging to the left by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6. There we go. And then we're going to replace this using quartz block. So there we go. And this is going to extend backwards, and it's going to extend backwards by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, by 5. So we want to take the end of this and we want to extend it backwards by 5 rows. And then we want to kind of like emulate what we have. So we want to just copy the shape of it. And this is meant to be kind of like an interesting-ish sort of water feature. Like this. With separating rows of quartz slabs / quartz block here towards the back. So this, and then we're going to dig this out a little bit later on, and we'll place some terracotta in here, and it will look pretty good. We might even do it now, actually, so I'm going to grab light grey glazed terracotta, oak leaves, water, and then we will, after that, we'll need the quartz stairs, quartz slabs, light grey concrete. We actually need some campfires, which I forgot out of the item list. I'm not 100% dead set. Where are the campfires? I can never find campfires. You think it'd be easy because I'm pretty sure they're even animated in the menu. Oh, there they are. Okay. They're not animated, my bad. Okay. This is what we've grabbed. So the water feature. We're going to make the base of the water feature light grey glazed terracotta, so this requires a little bit of digging. Only in these beginning stages. As we progress up, we don't need to do as much digging. So some light grey glazed terracotta here. Fill this in with water. Might even be easier to add the water at the end, but hey, what can you do? I think I'll add light grey concrete underneath the transition layers. So this next layer here, we just need to dig out this one row and replace it using some light grey glazed terracotta once again. And once again, I'm going to add the water again, although I'm not sure that it's necessary at all. And then I'm going to waterlog these blocks here. And then at this top part, we just simply have to place the light grey glazed terracotta. We don't have to dig anything out. Turn this still, and then make it flow. And I think that it's just like it's just a sort of interesting water feature. You could extend the water feature outwards a couple more rows if you like. Maybe just one entire row. How does this look? So here, here. There we go. That looks pretty good. And then we can take the oak leaves and we can add a row of oak leaves on the side here. And it doesn't get too much more complicated than this. Inside of this empty space, I want to add kind of like a couple of rows of light grey glazed terracotta with a couple of rows of leaves on top, like this, just to kind of create like an interesting wall. We're going to have a giant seating area, so this is going to be like a row of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 quartz, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 will make it even. And then we want to have kind of like an open fire sort of effect, so we're going to have a row of quartz. There we go, so we'll do this. So we'll have like, we'll almost make a square using quartz slabs. And then we'll dig the middle of this out and we'll replace it using grey concrete just to kind of like make its own area. And then I'll sort of leave the rest up to you. Around the edge of this, maybe we could even place some quartz stairs. It's kind of like a little boundary. Then we do want to have stairs as well. So these stairs come onto the terrace, and it's basically, the stairs begin where we have these black walls here. So if we just knock out a row of 3, that should be sufficient. And then we just want to have a row of quartz stairs with upside down quartz stairs underneath, in front, underneath, in front, underneath. You guys get the idea, until we eventually hit the ground. And it kind of just joins to the fire pit. All of this is kind of like just connected together, if you will. So like this. That looks pretty good. And that's how we're going to leave sort of the garden. I mean, I'm quite happy with that. I'm quite happy to leave it like that. So we're going to jump up onto the next level. We need the blackstone wall. So on this next level here, we have to use polished black stone wall, and where we have the edge of the quartz stairs here, we're going to have a row of polished black stone wall that leads up and joins to the balcony that we created, or the terrace. All the way over on the left here, where we have the grey concrete, we're going to have black stone wall leading up as well, just like this. That's looking pretty good. Then in between this area, I'm just going to place some lounging chairs. So where we have the glass here, we're going to leave a gap of 1, move right, stair, gap of 1, 2, 3, stair, gap of 1, 2, 3, and then we could have another stair, or you could have something else here. And then just a simple quartz slab, or maybe a couple of rows of small quartz slab just in front of this. That's perfect. And then the next thing that we're going to do is we are going to place upside down smooth quartz stairs along the top of the light grey concrete. So here, here, here. Joining back. And then what are we going to do? So we're going to grab the oak planks, and we're going to place 1, 2, 3 rows of oak planks across the back. And then we're going to place a gap of, we'll leave a gap of 1 from the edge here, and we'll have like, maybe a gap of 1, and then 1 chair, and a gap of 1 on this side, another chair with smooth quartz slabs in front, like this. And then oak planks extending along the inside of the smooth quartz stairs. And we want to have, just an additional row of oak planks here, just extending across the front. And then, let me take a look. So we then want to leave a gap of 1, 2, 3. How many do we want? Maybe let's add another row of oak planks on top of this glass. And then on the right side here, we're going to have a row of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 quartz slabs. And then forwards 1, 2, 3, 4. And then extend in like this. And then we're going to add a row of smooth quartz stairs inside. And it's coming to the point here where really we should extend all of the glass that we've got backwards. So we should take the light blue stained glass block. I don't know why I'm calling it light blue stain. The light blue glass block, and we should extend it all the way back like this. And this is going to create the floor for our pool. So just all the way back, underneath, and then we will fill this in with water. And that might be it after that. I mean, we could maybe add some other stuff, but I'll probably think about that once I can take a good look at the remaining area. But let's add some. I think we'll use light grey. Light grey concrete around the edge of kind of like this area here, and then we will log the stairs, fill this in with water. We'll fill underneath the pool in using something, I don't know what, but it's also like the garage, so it's quite nice to be able to see the water, honestly. Like, if you imagine that you could actually take a look at the cars and stuff that we could put inside of there, like, it's actually kind of like a cool feature, and it's quite tall as well, so you do have enough space underneath here to, to place some cars, to place some vehicles, because the glass, you've got a row of 3, which is more than enough. And that's sort of it, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, there's not too much more left to do. I think I'm just going to clean up the area a little bit, take a look at what we've got, and that's that. So this is what your modern mansion will look like once it's been 100% fully completed. I hope that you have enjoyed this tutorial. If you have, please do remember to hit that like button, as it helps me and the channel out very much. If you're new around here, please do consider subscribing and clicking that little bell next to the subscription button. That'll ensure that you get all my videos sent directly to your sub box. And if you do want to make anything else by me, check out the card system, the description below, and the top of the comment section for more. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.